Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo That's on 19. So chapter 9, text 19. Tapamai aham varsam nijnani yujami cha armtam chaiva mrityus cha sad asak kaham Arjuna. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain, and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Krishna, by his different energy, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky. And then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the end of death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna, there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one does not therefore make such distinctions. He sees Krishna only in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna, and his pastimes in Vrindavana as two-handed Syamasudara playing on a flute are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Trividya Mam Soma Pa Puta Papa Yajner Ista Savar Gatam Prathayanti Te Punam Asadeya Surendra Lokam Asanate Divyan Deva Bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. The word Trividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Rig. A Brahmana who has studied these three Vedas is called a Triveda. Anyone is very much attached to the knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actual Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. Devotional service begins with the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra, Kandra, etc. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified in the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to higher planetary system or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Jana Loka, Tapa Loka, etc. Once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. Shloka 21. Te tam bhuktva svarga lokam visalam kasin punye martya lokam visanti evam chaya dharmanam anu prapapana, gata gatam, kama kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. One who is promoted to those higher planetary systems enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earthly planet upon finishing the resultant fruits of pious activities. He who has not attained perfection of knowledge, as indicated in the Vedanta Sutra, Jamadi Asaya Yata, or in other words, he who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, becomes baffled in achieving the ultimate goal of life and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planets and then again coming down, as if situated on a Ferris wheel, which sometimes goes up and sometimes comes down. The purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world where there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems. One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy eternal life full of bliss and knowledge and never return to this miserable material existence. Text 22. Ananyas sitayantomam ye jana pariyapusate tesam nitya biyuktanam yoga kesmam vayamai aham. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot think of Krishna 24 hours. Cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies. Indeed, they make the devotee perfect in self-realization. Then his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Kesama refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects himself from falling down to a miserable conditioned life. Text 23. Ye pui anya devata bhakta yajanate shrid hayavita te pai mam eva kunteya yajante avidye purvakam. Whenever a man may sacrifice to the other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is done to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Text 24. Aham hai sarva yajanam Bhakta cha prabhar eva cha na tu mam abhijanate tat vinatas sivivante te. I am the only enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literature, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should only work for satisfying yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnasrama Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the Supreme Master. However, less intelligent persons, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he has to better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired results. Text 25. Yante deva varata devan, pitran yanti pitar varata, bhutani yati bhujateya, yanti mad yajino pai mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. If anyone has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose. These are vividly described in the fruitive activity portions of the Vedas, technically known as Darsa Purnamasi, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pitta planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets to become a yaksa, raksa, or Pisaka. Pisaka worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and they think it is spiritualism, but such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshiping the demigods, one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshiping the Pitta, achieve the Pitta planets, or by practicing the black arts, achieve the ghostly planets. Why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead. Text 26. Patramam puspam phalam toyam yo mi bhaktiye prayachati tad aham bhakti upatam asanami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, a water, I will accept it. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what types of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then he should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked for. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offering, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him. And he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper food for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the 3rd chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that the only remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and released from the clutches of the material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are said to be eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. By preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enable one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues, which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be, yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love of Krishna, for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse in Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of the other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all his opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love and offering foodstuff is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the supreme absolute truth can eat food and enjoy it. So I'll stop there at text 27. When I was listening to Emmanuel's conversation yesterday with Oprah, I believe he studies some sort of religion, maybe Catholic, I don't remember which one, but he said something. I think Oprah asked him like what he was most proud of in this movement that he's barking upon now. And he said, everything that in my life has led me to this exact moment. And I thought it was just like, of course, everything what we're talking about. He's like, being in the NFL gave me this platform, and going to a white private school in Dallas, Texas. And he's like, being born to Nigerian parents, he's like, every single step along the way led me to this exact moment that he can use this voice. And he just felt like it. I thought about like the Arjuna Krishna conversation, like he didn't question like, why me? He just did it. Like this is what he needs to do. This is his work now. And that's just what I think about like other people now doing their things. Like this is their work. Like even myself, I should say.
Yeah, I feel you on all that. What? Sorry, there's a lot of noise here.
Yeah, it's okay. You can say mute. I mean, Domenica, if you want us to if you don't have anything to add, I can just start breath work. It's okay. People aren't forced to ask questions and speak. You don't have to do that every day.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward text.
Yeah, I feel like it was a lot repetitive with the deity, gods again.
Yeah, like yesterday, it kind of, I don't know, embellished yesterday.
Yeah.
So I guess like it's neither good nor bad to be an impersonalist. It just leads you to a different place.
Yeah. Like I could see how, like if you get attached with going to the sun, like if you're like, I want to go to the sun planet or Krishna planet, isn't that going back to attachment? Like people that get obsessed with reading the Vedas to figure out their plan to get to the sun, like that's another attachment issue.
Yeah. I guess that's why they're saying like don't worship the demigods. Because you're just like looking for material gain, essentially. Yeah. And it's just like it's again not that it's good or bad, it's just not going to get you to the end result as quickly. Like there's the elevator comment. I mean, if we're taking this all at face value, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I keep hearing like, I guess because I'm studying it, like I keep hearing it pop up in my life in like different areas, whether it's a book I'm reading or the TV or whatever. I can't think of an example right now, but like I'll go through my day and I'll be like, oh my God, this is like a sign. And it's just like really funny. Like when Emmanuel said that yesterday, and like he tied God into it somehow. I think he was quoting the Bible, which I don't know anything about. So I couldn't really follow along. But yeah, it's just like let people enjoy whatever they're studying, like whatever. I used to get like mad when people would incorporate God or Bible or quote the Bible to me. And I'm like sigh heavily, roll my eyes. But now I'm just like, okay, just like let people live their life, stop judging them.
Yeah, what do they say? That the yogi should be able to walk into any place to worship and be happy that people are trying to worship.
Yeah.
They're trying to connect. I was the same way, so I'm always trying to use that mantra. I think just because like I don't know, it was like a rude awakening. You know, like I had to go to religion school and they would never answer any of my questions. And then I made a friend. I guess they would call her blasphemous. She was actually Wiccan. And her whole thing was like connecting to the earth. And she started revealing to me like what the church had done historically to people. And it was like very contradictory to what I had been taught that the teachings of Jesus were. It was like, you know, the Crusades and imperialism, all this stuff like in the name of Christ. Whereas like it just never seemed like Christ would be down with all this stuff going on. And it just made me feel so disillusioned, almost like I was like violated, you know? So then anytime anyone talked about it, I would just be like, oh, you have no idea. But eventually, like as I matured and I started like studying all these different cultures, I started to understand the teachings beneath, and that like it's really whoever is interpreting it and what they do with that information. It's the same in the yoga world. Like you could take somebody who is very, very good with the Vedas and they don't have the right intentions, or they're seeing through this like muddled lens. And then they're going to pervert whatever it is. It doesn't mean that the original thing was perverted.
Yeah.
So that was like helpful. And now I do kind of like feel that in my heart, like whenever somebody, like we're having this issue in our neighborhood with the teenagers in the parking lot for the church. So I, you know, we've been trying everything and like the whole neighborhood is very exasperated. They can't deal with it anyway. These kids have nowhere to go because it's COVID and they're like a gang of bicycles. They're all on their bicycles, like 30 kids screaming and cursing and like drinking. And it's so noisy. So anyway, I called the priest the other night and I was like, you know, you got to do something about this. And at the end of the conversation, you know, my husband's listening to me. He's like, God bless you. And I was like, God bless you too. And he like, Mark gave me like a funny look, but I like genuinely meant it. And I was thinking of my previous teenage self. Like I would have never been able to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. My dentist is very, it's funny. I like describe him as very Jewish. Like he's just regular Jewish, but I describe him as very Jewish, which is probably not the right thing to say, but he always is like, oh God, like he'll like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm doing really well. He'll be like, God bless you. But like, he's so serious about it.
Yeah.
I don't take offense to it now, but maybe same. Like my younger self would have been like, why are you saying that to me? But now I like love going to him because he's not what I'm used to being around. And it's important for us to surround ourselves with different types of people.
Yeah. And then like with the knowledge of it, it's actually like a really sweet and lovely thing he's saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he genuinely means it. And
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Mark's always saying like when you want, so you see like some kind of injustice or you see something that you feel is like wrong, we tend to in the beginning go to the opposite extreme to try and like understand or counteract, but it's like just as harmful, and it takes a lot of life experience and understanding to get to the middle. Like it's sort of it's with anything, like you can go to an extreme. I won't go get into the examples of what we were discussing, but
yeah,
it's just like we can end up in our fight for, you know, the rights of whatever, going to a place where we're causing harm again. Like you'll see this with like vegans sometimes. I know I've personally known some vegans and like their heart's in the right place. They don't want to hurt animals, but then they'll like physically attack another human being
or
for eating meat.
Attack them.
What?
Or emotionally attack them, like
sure, yeah, like very, you know, and
they're
it's
like
like
so aggressive when their whole thing is nonviolence, and they're like
right.
the most aggressive people I know, the vegans.
Right, and that's not to be, you know, judgmental of them. I think it's just a natural reaction to when you first like trying to counteract something
Yeah,
that's
no, I get it.
feels
Like,
wrong. But it takes maturity to get to that middle point where you can like have a civil conversation with someone that might actually change their mind rather than screaming at them, throwing things at them.
I wouldn't even say civil. Like I go back to what Emmanuel is saying, like having an uncomfortable conversation. Like everything doesn't have to be
right.
Like it can be uncomfortable. You can get a little heated, but you can control yourself and you don't have to agree, but you have to listen to the other person's side too. And a lot of people are closed off to listening. I see it so much on Facebook too, especially because I follow
right now. Yeah.
Like people get so angry about whatever catalyst, let's say. But I'm like, you're showing as much anger as they were. You're the opposite side of what and so like that's why I feel like educating ourselves and doing the work, like it's so important just to have a better understanding of each other.
Absolutely. Because like anger is obviously like validated sometimes, like you should feel angry about certain things, but it's like that acting out against everyone who didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like as soon as like a new thing has come up recently where it's like, okay, this is the thing now, and you were supposed to know it, and you were supposed to speak this way, and you're supposed to do this thing, and if you're not, you're like literally the devil. That's just, I'm sorry. That's like out of control in my book. Like you can feel angry and like let's have an uncomfortable conversation, but at the point that I it's like a little too extreme. But I'm sure like this is where it has to go in order to get to the middle. So I'm trying to be like patient with people and loving and compassionate and understanding.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna hit it in our lifetime, from what I'm
No.
We can just keep like showing examples for our youth. So, all right, let's do some breath and meditate. I'm so happy for Sue. I feel like life is really opening up now.
Yeah.
That she finally got her grandbaby.
It's so wonderful.
Okay. So let's sit up nice and tall.
I'm gonna log off and meditate On my own, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I was actually just gonna say I'm gonna do alternate. Well, are you stuffy today, Domenico, or just headache?
No, I'm not stuffy. I'm gonna stop at 8:20 because that's when I gotta get my son up and
Okay,
all
yeah,
that fun
that's fine.
stuff.
I was gonna say because I was gonna go over the locks with you while we were doing
Yeah, that would be good.
alternate nostril breathing. Okay, so we'll do that today, and then maybe we'll just disconnect and set the timers on our own.
All
Okay.
right, ladies, enjoy.
All right,
Bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
I wrote a post-it on my desk to retag you and like find the section in the book again too, because I'll
In the
go over it, but it's
the
like-
Hatha yoga book.
yeah, in the Hatha book.
I can find it.
It's more like a feeling with the locks. So our root lock is at the pelvic floor, and it's like you're holding in your pee, that muscle. So
Okay.
sometimes it's hard for me to feel it when I'm sitting. It's more like I feel it most when I'm in a squat position. That's where I like to practice it, or standing. But once you acknowledge that muscle, that's the root. And then the navel lock, it's sucking the belly button into the spine and then pulling it up under the ribs. It's almost like you're sucking in your stomach for a picture, like else do.
Yep.
But at the same time, like my bottom is super engaged right now. I'm sitting up nice and tall. I feel like it's almost like, when you're like locking in a food processor and you twist it and it's like secure. But my up here feels relaxed. When I first started practicing this, everything got tense. So like try to lock down here, but like relax the jaw and keep the chin parallel and like relax the features on the face. And then the third lock is it's the throat lock, and they go really into it with like the tongue and stuff. All I do is retain the breath and drop my chin down to my chest. And then when it's time to so you do that, you can do this both on the top of the inhale and the bottom of the exhale, but the bottom of the exhale I would do when you feel more practiced. So we do this when we're full of breath. And then when it's time to release, it's almost like at the same time you lift the chin, and as you're exhaling, you're releasing the bottom two locks too.
Got it.
And you'll practice it. You'll customize it to you as you begin to practice it.
Okay.
So we'll take a breath in through the nose and out through the nose. You'll bring your right hand over to the face. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale through the left. Close left. You're going to retain the breath. Engage the root, the navel, the throat. Drop the chin. And then lift the chin. Release the navel, the root, and exhale. Exhale out the right side. Sorry, you got to open up the right side. Inhale right. Hold and engage that root, the navel, the throat. And then lift the chin, release the left finger, exhale, release the locks. So I try to find some continuity to it, and I find like a 4 count. So I inhale on the left side for 4. I hold for 4, engaging the locks, dropping the chin. And then I lift my chin and I exhale out the right side for 4. Then I inhale for 4 on the right side. Close the right, engage the locks, hold for 4. If 4 is too much, you could find a different number. Lift the chin, exhale slowly through the left side for 4, release the locks. So it just becomes this cycle, inhaling for 4 on the left side. Hold, engage the locks. And then exhale out the right side. Inhale right. Close and hold. Notice if you're clenching your shoulders or anything else, the face. Just engage the locks. And then inhale, lift, exhale out the left side. You want to do another round on your own breath. Notice if you're clenching that tongue. I'm gonna release the hand and just breathe naturally. Sometimes when I'm engaging, I'm clenching my knees, my quads are clenching. So I just be mindful. I'm like, no, just do the locks. All right. Well, I will, should we end?
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, because then you can go help your son. All right. Well, have a good day.
You too. See you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.